This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, here on October 21st, 2021. And folks, tonight's a special episode because tonight is my 500th interview since starting this podcast in 2015. So, yeah, Zoom. This is my first year doing this on Zoom, and it's been wonderful in terms of scheduling people. And for the 500th episode, I thought we're going to celebrate at Willy's Wonderland. I mean, what better spot to do it than at Willy's Wonderland? I heard it's cleaned up in there. The night staff took all night. A night staff of one person, but it's cleaned up. And we're going to have a nice little interview in celebration of its reopening. Folks, I give you Ossie the Ostrich himself. BJ, is it Geyer?
It's Geyer. Yes, it is.
Geyer. BJ Geyer. How do you do?
I'm good, man. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. So.
Yeah, well, you're my second interview from this film. I had the absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, stunning Jessica Grace Davis on this past summer. And I'm going to be frank. When I found out that Siren Sarah was not a digital effect and an actual dancer, I was surprised because I thought it was a production value.
Wow, that's amazing. She's a real person and actually one of the creators and producers of the show as well. So
yep. I had a great time talking to her, and I loved Siren Sarah. So I mean, and so I was so happy to get her on here, and talk to her about that. But yeah, that kind of took me because the way she moves and stuff. I just gotta put my phone in flight mode. I should have already done that in case I get called. Yeah. Anyway, the way she moves and stuff like that, I'm like, wow. I was fooled. I bought into it.
Right. Yeah. She was amazing and terrifying. That creature mask was just those teeth. Yeah, that was a fearful character. You didn't want to mess with her. So
you know what? I saw a picture of her online with her husband, and she had her arm wrapped around him, and she had the costume on. And I'm like, oh, Siren Sarah does have a lovable spot.
That's too funny.
So yeah, I was happy to get you on here, and look what I got on Blu-ray.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, I wish this came to theaters,
Yeah, we did too.
Yeah, but it was one of those films that my brother and I watched on streaming at his place, and we both really liked it. Now, I'm an essential worker. I work as a cleaner, so I've been busy during this whole pandemic. And here's the one thing I know about cleaners. Cleaners, being into janitorial, cleaners get looked down on a lot.
Yep.
And I'm going to say this, and I agree that doctors and nurses should be paid more. I also think cleaning staff should too, because we were kind of on the front lines for this whole pandemic. And one of the things I love about Willy's Wonderland is the janitor's the hero.
Main character.
Oh boy. I salute that in this movie. Nicolas Cage in this movie is like my hero. But before we talk about Willy's Wonderland, I want to get your background because I know you've worked with the Muppets and various others. And I see like puppets behind you, including a turkey.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm as far as my background, I've been building puppets and puppeteering since the late 80s. Like a lot of people in entertainment, I started my career at Disney World down in Florida, and I was lucky to connect with the Henson crew before Jim passed. So I did have the opportunity to meet and work with them.
What was Jim like to me?
He was amazing. And I wish I had been able to spend more one-on-one time. I only got to sit with them a couple times, and it was in passing because, I mean, everyone was working all the time. We were opening Here Come the Muppets at Disney World. We were doing a TV show called The Muppets, the Muppets at Walt Disney, or the what is it? Yeah, the Muppets at Walt Disney World. And he was doing that among other things because at the time there was that whole merger with Disney going on and the creation of Muppet Land. You know, the Muppet 4D movie and the Muppet rides, all that was in development at the time. So for me, I mean, I was a 20-year-old kid who was dropped in the middle of a room of all the Muppet performers, literally. And I don't know, it's 30 some odd years later, and I'm still kind of overwhelmed by that whole event, the way that happened.
Yeah.
But I've been very fortunate. I, lived in New York and LA for a long time. Did some feature work, some TV, the show called Cranky Yonkers for many seasons as a producer and the head of the puppets. And I would say most of my bread and butter came from commercial work, though. I think I've done over 250 commercials in my career. So, been very fortunate, just been able to be a puppeteer and make a living at it. And you talk about being looked down on. Puppeteers are kind of like the bottom rung of the bottom rung in the entertainment industry. So, you don't go on a date and someone asks you what you do and you tell them you're a puppeteer. It's like, check, please. So.
Who was that? Oh yeah, being John Malkovich.
Yeah.
Yeah, the conversation between John Cusack and Catherine Keener. He says,
Yeah,
"I'm a puppeteer. Check, please.
check, please." Yeah, that's a real thing. I mean, that really happens. And there's a stigma too, because I think as soon as you say puppeteer, they immediately think you do like birthday parties and stuff, So the world of
you're
right?
in good company. Frank Oz.
Yes.
Frank Oz. You're in good company. And being in the company of Frank Oz is not ever a bad thing.
No, not at all.
No.
And I was lucky to work on Muppets from Space, and that was Frank's last movie, last feature, but it was my first feature with Muppets, and that was an experience too. It was very, very cool. So I've been very lucky.
Yeah, he did that the same year he did Bowfinger. Had a couple of puppets in that. One was Steve Martin and one was Eddie Murphy. Anyway, I remember seeing the Muppet movie at the drive-in when I was young, like I would have been 7 years old when that movie came out in 1979. My personal favorite Muppet movie was The Great Muppet Caper. Yeah. I enjoyed the London setting. I loved it when they broke this third wall and like Miss Piggy get told to quit overacting, or she'd be hanging off the edge of the building saying, "Next time they need a double, or no, next time they need stunts, get a double."
Right.
I love John Cleese sitting in there at the date, and he's so bored out of his mind, and he wants to know what the noise is. He's like, says it so nonchalant. Pig climbing up the side of the wall, like it's an everyday occurrence.
Right.
I enjoy the Muppet movies. I mean, Great Muppet Caper. Our rest in peace, Charles Grodin. We just lost him, and I don't know what he was thinking, hitting on Miss Piggy in that movie, but he did it with a straight face.
Right.
He was still really good in the movie, though, I gotta say. But Muppets Take Manhattan.
Yep.
Which was much better than Jason Takes Manhattan. And then you moved up. You had Muppets Christmas Carol, which is a holiday classic for so many people.
Yeah.
It's always interesting to watch celebrity interactions in those movies, like Michael Caine in Muppet Christmas Carol, and Charles Grodin, or I mentioned for John Cleese. That's one of my favorite moments in any Muppet movie. John Cleese just not caring about this date.
Right.
Doesn't react at all. The fact that Miss Piggy's climb, I love that. It never gets old for me. And or finds Kermit the Frog in the closet there, and tells his date, a lizard. That's supposed to be a frog, but a
Right.
lizard is looking for blah blah blah. I gave him the directions. Yeah, I love the Muppet. Did you have a favorite Muppet movie?
uh well, the Muppet movie, the original one, I think is still my favorite because it was, um I would have been a little bit older at the time when it came out,
Hmm.
and I was a very devoted Muppet Show fan at the time, and I'd grown up in the Sesame Street
Same
era.
here. Yep,
Yeah.
same
So
here.
that first movie, I mean, I remember I remember sitting at home when it came out on cable back then, when the cable boxes had a little switch and had like 10 different channels and three
Yep.
rows, and it was on HBO, I think, and it was scrambled, and I sat there and watched it scrambled over and over again because we didn't have HBO at the time, and just listening to it and trying to watch it, with the waves going through the screen. And there was just something about it. Yeah, like you said, they never hid the fact that they were puppets, and I love that. And a lot of the new movies, especially puppet movies now, do everything they can to erase rods and make sure you don't know they're puppets, but they are. I mean, and with the Muppet world accepted that. It was like, no, nope, there's a puppeteer's head, there's a rod, there's, and it was what it was, and it was a big part of the charm. And that first movie again too, to see giant animal. I mean, the minute he breaks through that ceiling,
Oh yes,
you can't,
yes.
and like reshooting classic Western scenes with puppets and people, you can't beat that,
Kermit the
so
Frog versus Charles Durning.
yeah.
You know
So
what? The Muppet TV show was a groundbreaker because we've all seen like Johnny Carson and
yeah,
these great shows that were put together, guest and some music acts. The Muppet show did that so well. They put on their skits, they had their musical numbers. I always loved it when they brought on the celebrity guests. And the
yep,
celebrity guests, like you got to have a certain mindset to go in there and play along with it.
right,
And they did it so well. And there were so many great guests. I was watching um, Debbie Harry interact with them when she did the Muppet Show, and she did the music with them, and it was just great. She did it in she played it straight, or so many other celebrity guests. Alice Cooper,
right,
it wasn't even beneath him. He went and he played along with it, and
yep,
Vincent Price, it was great seeing the celebrity guests come in there and interact, and it wasn't beneath them to do it. They
right,
went on there and they did it, and it was golden. The Muppet
yep,
Show is pure gold. And I wish it kept going. I wish it kept
yeah,
going because with the number of celebrities out there, you never know how many people they could have kept getting on there because they
yeah.
got some amazing guests.
And every year got better. Every year, people, there were waiting lists for them. But I think you hit on a key point too. Is when they had these guests on, they allowed them to play. It
Mhm.
wasn't it wasn't scripted. It wasn't over the top. It wasn't them having to be somebody else. It was like, look, come and be yourself. What's something outrageous you've always wanted to do, or what is something that you do that no one knows about that we can feature you doing on the show? What do and I no other shows gave them that opportunity. Other shows wanted them to be somebody else,
Yep.
and yeah, that just that play in general that was such a key element. and
Yep.
and I think that was the spirit of the show too, is there was always that sense of play, even with the characters. When things went wrong,
Mhm.
they just went with it. It's like, go with it, it is what it is. So
Yep.
so
Yep. There's Steve Martin on there with the ukulele or banjo, and you had Crystal Gale with that long hair. Like I
yeah.
remember so many much of this, and it was golden, golden.
Yeah,
Yep. Do you
and
have a
somewhat risque as well. I Were you gonna ask a favorite?
who's your favorite Muppet?
My favorite Muppet, Gonzo's always been my favorite Muppet. And I guess it's because I've always thought of myself as that kind of outcast, kind of weirdo. I never really fit into one particular group, and I guess I related to Gonzo on that level.
When I think of Gonzo, I think of the Great Muppet Caper where he gets his beak stuck in the elevator and he goes, hey, Fozzie, this is really fun. You ought to try this.
I never had that sense of daring, I will say.
Yeah, I enjoyed that, especially in Great Muppet Caper. I love it when they're trying to break into the art gallery to stop the burglary, and the dogs are coming and they're like shooting up the wall. You can see Scooter just go Scooter's a climber. He's just shooting right up that wall. It's funny. Yeah, it's just Beaker, of course. He's like a stunt puppet. Stuff.
Yeah, and that's such a great character too. I mean, Beaker and Animal, just they don't have to be intelligible to be entertaining, and you would immediately relate to both of them, when you see it. So.
Yeah, it's such a great show. Such a great show. God bless the Hanson family. And I know you worked in Happy Time Murders, and I went and saw that, and I got to admit, I actually enjoyed it, but I don't think it did quite as well as what Sausage Party did for animation, and I loved Sausage Party. But
actually, I actually did not work on Happy Time Murders.
Oh, you're listed for it on IMDb.
Know, and I have tried removing that dozens of times, and I don't know why I'm on there. I don't know if I got grouped in, but I relocated to Georgia, and I was not there to work on that movie. So it's funny. IMDb is really interesting because there are two movies that I keep getting credited for that I did not work on. I did not work on Dora and the Lost City of Gold, which I'm credited on. And I did not work on Happy Time Murders, which I'm credited on. And every time I try to remove them, I get rejected. And it's really funny. I don't understand. I don't understand that. So unfortunately, I can't answer any questions directly about Happy Time.
Did you see it, and what did you think?
I thought it was interesting, so that script had been floating around for a long time, and it had gone through several hands. And when I was doing Crank Anchors, second season, we moved from New York to LA for the show, and I had met with them about working on that script before Henson's got it, and it had gone through a couple other people's or other shops' hands as well. And it was a very different script. It was more dark, very noir type of a detective thing, and it got a little more lighthearted. I think it was more celebrity driven this time around with Melissa McCarthy. I enjoyed it. It was an entertaining film. But I don't know. It was good. I mean, but it wasn't a top of the list for me as a movie. I mean, it doesn't live up to the Muppet type of movies.
It wasn't one of your best works.
One of mine.
Okay. You're not, it's on here. Come on, no. Not one of yours.
Yeah. No, but that aside, the fact that I didn't work on it, it was great to see a puppet movie, that was being done again as a feature. I mean, Team America was one of my most favorite experiences ever working on a puppet movie, and it was overwhelming.
I got a story about that. I saw that in the theater. And the scene where the two puppets are having sex, I'm a guy that will look over audiences when I'm in to see reactions.
Right.
I don't know who they were, but there was this couple sitting beside me, and beside me was this woman with glasses on. I don't know who she was, but anyway, when that happened, I just kind of looked over, and she was like, and you got these two marionette puppets on there banging each other in the ass and this and that, and one shitting on the other, and the other pissing on them. I was like looking around, and she just was like this, like she could not believe what she was watching. And you know what? To be frank with you, I remember those experiences so well. And I
That was
love the fact that they did a song called Pearl Harbor Sucks, because I hate that movie with a friggin' passion. And I'm glad Team America acknowledges how shitty that movie is, because Pearl Harbor does indeed suck. I think every copy of it should be burned in a pile with all the other copies of it. Pearl Harbor is pure garbage filmmaking. It's a garbage movie. It's garbage is worth more than the Pearl Harbor movie.
Oh wow.
So there you go. That's my thoughts on Pearl Harbor. I,
I,
I I applaud that Team America had a song voicing just what a shit show that movie was.
those guys hold no punches back, man. They don't. They just say what's on their minds and put it on the screen, and I applaud them for that.
Watching the puppet go out there and vomit, and he's laying it's vomit.
Oh, I know.
Or the guy with the drunk guy was like, "Well, there's dicks who like to f. I don't know. You could say it on here. Who like to fuck assholes, but the dicks like to fuck pussies." But the assholes like to shit all over everything. Like whatever it was, I'm not doing it justice. I don't know who comes up with that, but I'm sitting here like just like, okay,
Right.
this is better than After We Fell.
Yeah. Wow.
I prefer to be watching this over Titanic. I wish Titanic had some of this.
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed sitting there for 3 hours plus, as opposed to half falling asleep.
Well, maybe Matt and Trey will do a puppet version of Titanic.
Sure. Or a puppet version of Pearl Harbor and make that good. Oh, I hated that movie. When they sold that, I read a newspaper article where the studio was going to sell that movie to Japan as a love story. I thought, this is a racist piece of crap movie, because there was not one three-dimensional Japanese character in that movie. It was just two soldiers fighting over a nurse. I hated that movie. You know, I hated that movie.
I don't remember it. I know I saw it. I honestly don't.
Well, you know
remember
what? If you don't remember it, you're in better shape than I am, because I'm trying to forget it. You know, but this is something I definitely want to remember. You know, oh man, the movie that champions the cleaner. I remember that story I heard about Justin Bieber urinating in somebody's mop bucket and laughing around with his friends. That was on the news. That was a few years ago, and I didn't like hearing that. That's an example of people looking down on cleaners. And somebody like Justin Bieber should be ashamed of himself. They even, I hope he's learned, don't do that. I heard he's cleaned up a little bit, but still, that didn't impress me. But so I like it when you get a janitor character who's
right.
Yeah. What was your
He's a man of many words. Not.
Yeah. You know, do you remember anything about that? Like Nicolas Cage, no dialogue. Was that in the script, to him not having any dialogue?
It was in the script, and I mean, at one point there was, I think he had one line originally at the very end of the movie, and they dropped it because it really wasn't necessary. It didn't buy anything to have him utter that one line, and it was such a cool role. I think, you know, he didn't need to say anything, and honestly, he's an amazing actor, and he was great to work with, and the stuff he could pull out, like the whole dance thing with the pinball game and that, I mean, that's amazing. You know, that just, you know, that when that happens, I mean, I was just talking to somebody about that. We were all watching that, you know, everyone's like, because it was a small crew. It was a pretty small crew on that film. So we're all on set, and he's in this kitchen. Well, it's a small set, and there's a doorway, and we're all standing in the doorway watching, and we're trying as hard as we can not to laugh out loud. You just can't help it. And eventually you just lost it. I mean, the whole crew's in the background laughing in that. And because it's just, I don't know, it's pure entertainment. I mean, it is what it is. And he did such a great job of bringing that character to life without having to say a bunch of dialogue. So.
Oh yeah, well, I'm going to tell you, I loved him in this movie. Nicolas Cage, I know he had some financial troubles there not long ago because he was in all these blockbusters. I grew up loving him in movies like Valley Girl, loved Valley Girl, you know.
Right.
But, you know, I hope he clears up his financial situation. But I'm going to tell you, with the roles he's been taking in the last few years, a lot of creativity. He's doing some of his best work. When you look at like Mandy, you know, and this, and I know there's others that people will think of. He's doing some, huh?
Jujitsu.
I don't
Have you
know that one.
Oh, check out Jujitsu.
Oh, I'm going to.
It's extremely entertaining.
You see, Nicolas Cage is doing some of his best work, I think.
Yeah.
And there's always now there's like memes of Nicolas Cage ever since the Wicker Man remake, which not his best, but I'm gonna tell you, I think he gained more fans over that train wreck than not.
Huh.
You know, because as bad as that movie is, the whole not the bees, not the bees is kind of like a meme. But I think people like him because of stuff like that. People always say go full Nicolas Cage. I get why they say that, you know.
Oh yeah. No, he's it's really interesting because you know, I remember hearing him some conversations he was having about that. You know, talking about that. It's like, if you're on a blockbuster, that's your life. That's your life for a year and a half, 2 years. That's what you live. You know, and you're locked into that. You know, and you're on one rate for that whole thing. Where with this, he can go do a movie a month if he wants to. He can go shoot for 2 or 3 weeks on a feature, make a smaller amount of money, but enjoy himself, you know, and then go on next month and do it again, you know, and I admire that. I would choose that route too, I think. And to give you the versatility to do things you want to do, not things you feel obligated to do, you know, like how many sequels would you be locked into on one of those blockbusters, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I like these a lot more than most of his blockbusters, you know? So, yeah. So Nicolas Cage is great. And I just like, how many shirts does he go through? And one of the great things too is like, after destroying one of these animatronics, it's like, just cleans it up.
Yep.
Grabs another shirt, you know.
Puts it in the bag. Yep.
Yeah, it's like, whatever. I'm here to clean this place up. Go do my job. Go get my car fixed. You know, like another. I don't think you can pay me enough, and I am a cleaner.
Right. Right. Yeah. And it's great because it's just methodical for him. You know, looks at the watch, takes his break, drinks his soda, goes back to work. You know, so.
What were those sodas? Do you know?
Oh, I don't remember. I mean, they were. It was a fake label, you know. So I honestly don't know what was in them. You know.
Yeah.
It may have been water. I don't know. So.
Can't be water with the way he was in that movie. You have to give him something.
Oh, you mean? You mean for real, or what were they?
No. I'm talking about his character.
Yeah, crazy energy drink sodas. So
I thought it was funny too when Nicolas Cage he's in a position where he's going to be fighting the was it the chameleon or the iguana, and it's break time. So he hands Emily Tusk the knife, walks away. He's gonna have his break. I get such a kick out of that. It makes the movie more fun. And she's like the only one of those. First off, you know, I have nothing against the actors, but she was the only one of the kids that was worth her salt in terms of putting up a fight.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
When you got two of them that go off and have sex within these bed of colored balls, I'm like, you know what? You just watched one of your friends get stabbed by Nighty Night.
Right.
Really? Is this the time for you guys to have sexy time? You know, like seriously. So I couldn't get behind a lot of the kids at all.
Sure.
You know, could not. But Emily was interesting. You know, you remember much working with her?
Yeah, we did. We started out, a lot of the stuff we did right off the bat was with the gator inside the vents, and that was her being chased. So the first couple days, I mean, that was it. She was great, honestly. She was a real sport, you know. She put up with it, sliding through the vent and all that, and getting dragged around and everything else. So yeah, she was honestly, all those kids, they were great sports. I mean, they were just excited to be there. And I think, what, the thing that really I loved about the movie though, is that it really is an homage to that 80s B made for, the feature, the slasher feature that
Well, look,
never.
Grant Kramer is involved with this, and he was
Right,
in Killer
right.
Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah.
It's got Killer Clowns written all over it.
and even the shoot quality and the lighting and the sets, I mean, they all stayed true to that. Like, we really don't have a budget, but we're going to make a horror film anyway and put it on the screen, and I love that about it.
I loved it too. And another person I gotta make note of, because she's been in, I don't think she gets the credit she should, but she's been in so many movies, is Beth Grant playing the sheriff.
The sheriff, she was amazing.
She was really good. Like, I known her in Donnie Darko. She was in that. She was in Extract as the annoying coworker. She's noticeable when you see her, but she doesn't. You don't see her playing the lead. But I'll tell you what she does do. She does well. I liked her playing the sheriff in this. Yeah.
Yep.
So
total pro. She came in and she kicked butt, man. She was awesome. So
no, she didn't kick butt. She had half of her body hit off.
Right, she got hurt. I didn't mean in the movie.
You, of course, a lot of them are people in costumes, but not Ossie the Ostrich. You were Ossie, and of course, Ossie's the first one to go.
I know, it was so sad. I had the shortest contract. So.
Oh, like Nicolas Cage fighting the ostrich with a broom handle.
Yeah. Where is it? I have it somewhere. Here it is. Where is my broom handle?
Do you have Ossie there?
Well, I don't have Ossie, but I do have.
Do you have Ozzy Osbourne?
I do have my piece of the wall from the playroom of Ossie.
Hey, there you go.
And they were striking the set when we wrapped, and they were just tearing walls down. And I'm like, hey, I want Ossie. I want the stand up. You can see all the blood all over him still.
There you go.
And I said, can I have that? And they're like, sure. You mean the wall? And I'm like, yeah, the wall. And they're like, yeah, you can have it. Good. You have a saw? So I went and got a saw and I cut him out of the wall.
There you go.
So yeah, that's Ossie from the sacrifice room, or the room, the really bloody room, I guess, but where they did the transformation into the characters. So
I got a question. Are you married?
Yes.
What does your wife think of you having an Ossie?
Oh, I don't know. They think it's exciting. My wife and my kids, they think it's cool. It's it's funny though, because I've been doing it as a career for my whole life, so they're kind of numb to it. Like, they just like, oh, it's just dad with more of his crap in the garage.
Thank goodness.
So
thank goodness, Thanksgiving, you got the turkey right there behind you. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we got all kinds of stuff up there. Got some other puppets from other projects and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, so there you go.
So.
Oh, I like that you got Ossie.
Yeah, I did. I kept Ossie, and I have, like to say, I have the broomstick around here that I got killed with. So, and it's gross. It's foam. It's a stick with foam on the outside of it, duct taped together. So that was a fun scene, though. That fight scene, it was really challenging to do with those big bird feet, and in the puppet, because we still had to choreograph it, and Nick Cage, he honestly said, we were talking about it, and he was talking about the scene, and he goes, unleash the cage rage. And when he said that, and those words came out of his mouth, that was, for me, that was one of the greatest moments ever, to hear Nick Cage refer to the cage rage, about himself. That was awesome. I'm like, okay. And that was it. And
Yep.
we had one of each costume. There weren't doubles. There weren't stunt doubles. We had one. So when he destroyed them, he really, like, that damage was real. There was no going back. There was no fixing anything. And Ossie being the first one, he pummeled Ossie. I mean, you saw it in the film, and that was it. I mean,
You didn't take any parts home?
No. So they kept all the characters. There was talk of the characters and the pinball machine and a few other things going on tour, and then ending up in the company office, the company that produced it. So as far as I know, they're stored somewhere with the intent of eventually doing something with them. I honestly would love a sequel. I mean,
was just going to say that.
Because there wouldn't just be one Willy's, right? There'd be Willy's Wonderlands all over the place, you know? So,
well, I had this conversation with Jessica regarding the end of that movie.
yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I do have this, actually.
Oh.
This is the top of Tito's head. So I had the rest of the cast all sign it. We all sign it with our characters. But
oh wow,
yeah.
Where's Jessica's signature?
Let's see. I don't know if hers is on here. I think you know what? I think she signed my poster. I had most of production sign the poster. I got a poster as well. Yeah, she's not on there.
You got Nicolas Cage on there?
I did. I got Nick Cage on.
Ah, there you go. Yeah. I think Jessica's beautiful. When I found out that was an actual person, then I got to look at her. I'm like, oh my goodness, she's gorgeous. She's but yeah, I liked all the puppet. Speaking of Jessica, I said to her, number one, I love that music sequence when he's going to face off with Siren Sarah, and I got these names all up here, so actually I'm going to go to where the all the casting is here, because I need to figure out what the names of all these
the characters or the
the names of all the characters, because oh yeah, Cammy Chameleon.
Yeah.
Okay, I found it funny. Cammy just stands there while poor Siren Sarah, like, he is right down, almost right down on her face, suffocating her. You just see her legs going.
Yeah.
Cammy just standing there. I'm like, really? Like, thanks for the help.
Self-preservation. Come on.
Oh wow. And I understood that was another stunt woman too.
Jordan.
No, Taylor Towery.
Oh yeah,
was Cammy. Yeah.
Cammy. Yeah, that's right. So.
What is it with you guys covering up these pretty girls?
They're pretty awesome. That whole team, Charlie Parrish and his whole team, they were amazing on this. They were troopers, because they were buried in inches of foam and restrictive costuming, and they were great. I mean, it was tough too, because like even the scenes where the characters are standing, not moving up on the stage, we were in those suits. They weren't on mannequins or anything. So those guys were stuck in those suits, not moving for those entire scene, take after take after take. So real troopers, man. It was a lot. And some of those scenes too, especially Gus the gorilla, good Lord, that was such a physical scene. I mean, he literally threw him, and it was awesome. I mean,
I like it. Nicolas Cage slams a plunger into his face.
Yeah.
And then curb stomps him on a urinal.
On the urinal, yeah, and breaks his jaw. I mean, it was awesome. So
Yeah, some great places for the fights, and I like how he takes the alligator and like
Rips the-
it just like down through. And Siren Sarah, like I said, um I like what he does with her. I like the song that's playing during that whole thing. It's like on the jukebox.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah. um
Now we didn't have any of the music on set, so we didn't know what any of that was going to be until afterwards, until we actually saw the film. So that all got
well, I
added.
guess the song, I forget what it was called, but had to do with his physical proportions at that time.
Oh,
Knees,
funny.
feet, or something like that. I forget now off the top of my head, but yeah, and when he's done with Siren, he just gets up and just
Yep.
doesn't take much. A cameo was useless. Yeah, and Nighty Night got beheaded, and great stuff. I'm gonna tell you, the one that really gave him the fight was Willy the Weasel.
Yes, that was a good fight. That was a
Mhm.
that was a great fight, but he also pummeled the crap out of him at the end. I mean,
I
that was
love that he put all
ju-
the soft drinks
yeah.
and the cans of soda in this what was it, sack or something. He just wham, wham, wow! It just was just beating the crap out of this thing. Who was in the Willy costume? I don't remember.
um Yuri. Yuri, I don't remember Yuri's last name. Yuri was amazing. He's from Eastern Europe. I don't remember where he was from exactly, but an amazing. He's a stunt. He trains stunt people, and he's one of these 150% people all the time. He's so positive, and he's such a great energy to be around. But man, he got in that thing, and we did everything we could to make him comfortable in that suit. But I mean, that neck was 3 feet above the top of his head. So he's always off balance. Here's a
Mhm.
picture for you. There's Jess without her hood on with her under makeup on. So
Oh,
that's
that's
Siren Sarah.
Jessica.
Yeah,
What's that on her face?
that's makeup. It's just what's on underneath the Siren Sarah mask. Because they had to black out around her eyes and everything.
Oh
So
wow.
the mask goes on over that. It would just so you didn't see anything, any color in it.
I wonder
So
if that's her driver's license picture.
I don't think so.
Is that what happens when you get stopped by the cops? You show Ossie's picture and
I do. Yes. I show them this. I show them the bloodbath picture.
look at that. Look at that. I
So
love it. Kaylee Cowan was involved in that.
yeah, Kaylee soaked in blood. Yeah, there we go. There's a good one. That's the aftermath. So that's what was left of Ozzy.
Gee,
So
his head just doesn't look very healthy there. It looks like he
no,
had
it wasn't.
one too many liquors.
His eyes were so beaten. I mean, they were literally just busted apart. There's Yuri. He's a fantastic guy, man. He was a great
There you
performer and a
go.
real trooper.
Oh
So
wow.
um,
Wow.
yeah, we had a really great team on there, and yeah, this is what happens after working on set all day. Your stomach just doesn't do well.
Who's that?
That's me.
Oh, that's you. You
That I was cleaning up after Gus, after we busted Gus up, and I just did a joke. It was just a joke, but
Oh, okay. Well, you're
yeah.
supposed to let Nicolas Cage clean that up. He's the janitor.
There you go. There you go. That's the what's left of Gus's head in the urinal.
There you
So
go. Not very healthy.
no, it was fun though. We had a great time on that, and it it was the first time I'd worked on an indie like that in a very long time, and
Hmm.
we had an amazing crew. It was a small crew, and it was one of the first shows in a long time I've worked on where everyone helped. I mean, it was a real, true family feel. Like
Hmm.
there, like when we were doing the after Nighty Night, there was blood all over the inside of the main seating area for the restaurant. And of course, they scheduled right after that another scene where it had to be clean that happened earlier. Well, even the producers were out with wet wipes cleaning tables and everything, and it was amazing. You don't get that much anymore, you know. And
No.
there was a lot to be said. Everyone just jumped in and helped out on everything, and I think again, I don't know. There was just something about that movie. I really want to do another one. I hope, or at least work with that crew again. It'd be fantastic.
Oh, I hope you guys could do another, because this gonna. I wish it was released in theaters. I would have went to the theater to see it, but it has garnered a cult following, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it has. Yep, it's been talked about. In fact, Sean Clark, if you're familiar with him, Sean Clark books a lot of talent for conventions.
Uh-huh.
In fact, he booked Jamie Lee Curtis for her first con. Well, he does a show called Horror's Hollow Grounds, where he goes around, visits locations. He actually visited the locations for Willy's Wonderland.
Oh, really?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yep. He visited locations
fantastic.
and what it looked like and walked us through it and this and that. Didn't get inside the building, but yeah, Sean Clark books people for cons and stuff. So and he's got quite the clientele list. But yeah, he did a Horror's Hollow Ground on Willy's Wonderland. So
That's amazing.
yeah, there were some people I encountered that didn't like the film because I don't think they got it.
Yeah, they didn't.
I explained to somebody that Nicolas Cage not reacting is part of the joke.
Right.
He's there to do a job. The joke is he does not react. He's there to do a job. He does it. This is just, an interruption.
Right.
He goes back and he cleans. And I had to explain that to one or two people. Now, my younger brother got it. He totally dug this movie. So yeah. So I had some fun with this movie watching it, and I had to get the Blu-ray of it. It's like that Five Nights at Freddy and all that stuff. But yeah, I hope they can do it. I hope they do a sequel. It'd be great.
Yes.
Yeah. So looking on here, gotta go back here and find you again here. Okay. Looking through your credits, I did want to ask you about it says additional crew for Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. That was a good movie.
I puppeteered on that. So the vampire musical used a lot of puppeteers. I helped build some of the puppets for that, and then I was puppeteering the Van Helsing puppet, which was the antagonist in that, I guess. Then so through the rehearsals and everything, we worked out all the blocking and everything, and then originally I thought I would be doing it for the actual shoot day, and then they brought Bill Hader in, and Bill Hader took over the role. So it was actually very cool though, because I got to work with him for a few hours, walk the blocking through with him, and man, he was a pro. He picked up the puppeteering stuff like that, which was awesome. The SNL type actors, they're so diverse. I mean, and so good at just like picking things up on at the spur of the moment. And I ended up in the background doing a bunch of the other, like the baby vampire bats and some of the pop-up characters and stuff. So, but we had a lot of fun. It was great. And that was that shooting that was the first time we were all talking to Jason Segel and found out how big of a Muppet fan he was. And
that led to the Muppets.
Yeah, that led to the Muppets. And yeah, it was amazing that connection happened there, and I mean, he's such a huge fan, and just that like my favorite scene in the Muppets, in the Jason Segel one, is where he's sitting in the chair and all the Muppets come out of the TV and are going around him, because that look on his face was so real. I mean, it wasn't him acting. He was absolutely like crying just with joy, because here all of these Muppet characters were circling around him. And it was caught on the film as part of the character, but it was him. He was just loving every minute of it, So
What
That
was
was
it
great.
like with Amy Adams in that film?
That was great. I actually puppeteered Rizzo, I think, for the scene in where they're pitching the idea. They're all in what's her name's office, and
Hmm.
Amy Adams is holding the rat. And I was puppeteering the rat with her. She's great. I mean, um, yeah, no, she was amazing. She's a great performer. I worked on with her again 2 years ago on Hillbilly Elegy, the Ron Howard film,
Hmm.
and yeah, she's an amazing performer. She's pretty, like, there's different types of performers. She's one though that she's herself, and she's very fun and bubbly and everything. And then as soon as camera's rolling, she's in character. Boom, instantly. It's She doesn't come to set in character. But that switch is amazing to watch, and she just nails it. So, um, yeah, that whole cast was great. The the Muppets though was just kind of a goofball movie. It just, the energy there was really fun, all in all. So
They need to get Emma Stone in a Muppets movie. I'm a huge Emma Stone fan, and I could just see her interacting well with Muppets.
yeah.
Yeah. It says here you got Grudge Match. Now, talk about working with Rocky and Raging Bull.
Yeah, Robert De Niro, man, that's a highlight of my career, to spend a day working one-on-one with De Niro. So,
Hmm.
and Peter Siegel, who directed that. So
Hmm.
that was that was one of those things. I flew to built. So I was working at Legacy Effects, and they were hired to build Jabby, to build the character. So they designed him in 3D and modeled him, and then I built the actual puppet, and then I was able to puppeteer it and voice the character as well. So I flew to New Orleans with him, and got there the afternoon of one day. The next day we were on set shooting all day, and went home the following day. So, but yeah, I mean, absolute dream come true. And really interesting, because there's a scene where De Niro knocks the table down, and the puppeteer's exposed underneath,
Yeah.
and there's the weight jokes. They're throwing weight jokes back and forth. Well, I'm all of 170 pounds and the little guy. So when they knocked it over, I'm like, it didn't work. So for that scene, when they show the puppeteer, they replaced me with a different guy, with a big actor. And that was really funny. It was kind of a bummer for me, because I was like, oh, I was going to get a minute of FaceTime, and you don't get that often as a puppeteer.
No.
Um, but it was great, because I had Peter feeding me lines. He's like, say this next time, say that, and trying to really get a rise out of Robert De Niro. And some of the stuff he had me saying was like, I wasn't comfortable. Luckily, it was in character, so it wasn't me, you know. But it was a lot of fun, and again, total dream come true moment, to be able to work with him. So Stallone, I did not get to meet him. He flew out. His plane left right like an hour before mine landed, so I did not even get to cross paths with him, unfortunately. So,
You mentioned Ron Howard. Talk about that.
oh, that was amazing. So I also do art department work,
Hmm.
set dressing and stuff, and props. And I was working on Hillbilly Elegy, which was
Hmm.
his Netflix movie, and uh, Glenn Close, amazing. Spent a lot of time, on set with her, but to work with somebody like Ron Howard as a director was amazing. And like, coming from the commercial side of things, commercials are super fast. Like, a lot of times these directors get the scripts the day of, and they go in and shoot these commercials, and you're in and out in a day or 2 days, and there's a lot of make it up as you go just to get it all done. Feature films, when you're working with the seasoned director and pro, man, like, our first day was on location out in a small town in North Georgia, and it was crazy. We were outside. There were tons of extras. There was a lot of sets. There were cars, all kinds of stuff. And you always have that expectation that that first day is going to be behind. You're going to spend the first 4 or 5 hours ramping up. This one, it was like, first shot at this time, boom, first shot. 20 minutes later, we were moving on, and it was all because of Ron Howard's directing style. I mean, he gets in there. He knows what he wants. He knows. He has a great crew. Everybody's really respectful of everybody, and the whole shoot was like that. It was that was an unbelievable experience, just because, you don't find yourself in that situation too much anymore. A lot of it's floundering to get things right. But man, he get in there and just knock it out. Every scene, all the way through the hospital scenes at the end and in the house and everything. So again, very, very cool, to, be talking to him about what bicycle to use or set dressing or whatever. And just, I don't know, you need to be in the presence of somebody like that. So.
You want to discuss Crank Yonkers?
Crank Yonkers. I have to say, Crank Yonkers was a real boost for my career personally. I was living in New York at the time. I was building a lot of puppets and mascots. I was doing shows for Disney, like the Book of Pooh, which was a Winnie the Pooh show, and filling in on Between the Lions and PBS shows. And Crank Yankers came up as an opportunity. Jimmy Kimmel pitched this idea and gotten the green light on it, but they didn't have any clue where to start with the puppets. So I was introduced to the producers, and I built puppets and I puppeteered, and I also was in that world. So I had connections to everybody. So I ended up becoming a coordinator, and basically they said, this is what we want to do. And I said, okay, here's what we need to do. We need to do this. We need to build these. We need to hire these people. We need to, cast this. So that became my job. And I loved it. I ended up becoming a coordinating producer for the second season. They moved us out to LA for a few months for second season because Jimmy had been given Jimmy Kimmel Live, which was going to be starting up. So they relocated him. So Crank Yankers moved to LA for second season. Second season turned into a long second season, which was almost 2 seasons back to back. And then it turned into another season. So we moved to LA permanently. And that's what got me to LA. I mean, we were there for 15 years after that. So, but great show. Talk about a challenge though. There'd never been a puppet show that provided that volume of puppets. We would shoot 5 to 7 segments per day. And a segment can mean either side of a phone call, either the caller or the mark side. Mm-hmm. We would have anything from 1 to 10 puppets on each side that had to be done, and sets that had to be built, and gags that had to be rigged. And we did this every single day, 5 days a week. So we tracked it. We had a book. I want to say the first season we had over 1,200 different puppet characters that we had to create for the first season of the show. So we figured out a system called crank blanks, which were like Mr. Potato Heads of puppets. And that was the only way to make the show happen. And Funny Garbage were the production designer, the design team on it, Pete Girardi, and was the head of that. And they would listen to the phone calls and they would do a quick cartoon sketch of what they thought the person sounded like. That would get handed over to our puppet shop, and we would build that. We go, okay, that uses this head, this body, and then make faces and wardrobe and create those characters. And it was crazy. I mean, it was an amazing experience, high volume, really fast. And it also taught us a lot about puppeteering to a live track versus a scripted track. Like if you're working with a script, like you're looping a scripted track, you're looping lines that that are written in front of you. If you're trying to loop to or trying to lip sync to a real person talking, people don't speak in complete sentences. They don't talk consistently. There's weird pauses and guttural sounds and all kinds, and breaths in weird places. And we had to memorize all that, and be like, here's your disc for the week. Be ready tomorrow with your first 3 calls. And you're like, okay. And you sit there for hours just trying to memorize all this stuff. So, mm-hmm. But a great experience. Got to work with Jimmy and Adam Carolla, and had a great time. They gave us free reign with the puppets, and I guess it worked. We got 7 seasons out of the show. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Do you have any charities that you want to promote on here?
You know what? I donate primarily to St. Jude's,
mm-hmm.
and that is the big one for me. I've done stuff with them in the past, and one of my sons is really into gaming, and those guys, they promote and partner with a lot of these gaming conventions and stuff like that, and they have a great response in there. The work they do, that and Give Kids the World. providing opportunities that those families would never otherwise have. And I don't know. Those are the two charities I would definitely want to promote and let people reach out to. So
you have a web page that you want to plug on here?
Yeah, you can check out my my webpage is just my name. It's bjguyer.com, bjguyer.com. And then I will give you a sneak preview of this.
Okay.
I am starting a new website, and I'm working on a logo right now, and it's ibuildpuppets.com.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so I started teaching several years ago for the Stan Winston School of Character Arts, and I'm kind of the master.
Nice.
Stan
Winston, yep.
Yeah. So I teach courses online. If you haven't checked them out, Stan Winston School of Character Arts, swsca.com or .org. I think it is .org. Anyway, it's an amazing school for anyone who wants to learn anything about special effects, not just puppets, creature effects, makeup effects. It's real working professionals teaching courses to anybody who wants, and they're all online. And you learn from people who are day to day out there doing this stuff. And it's an amazing resource. I wish I would have had 30 years ago, but didn't exist then. But I want to expand on that. So ibuildpuppets.com is basically that. It's going to offer opportunities for courses, online courses, also live appearances. We're going to do online builds, like tutorial builds. There'll be patterns. We'll offer resource pages as well for people who are getting into this kind of stuff and want to know where to find everything, types of materials. So I would like to start a blog as well, but I don't know. We'll see.
Are you going to rebuild Ossie?
Poor Ossie. I'd love to rebuild Ossie. I'd love to have Ossie right back there, the real one.
Oh no, you got to put Ossie in the bedroom.
Oh,
I bet your wife would love that.
Yeah. He'd be right there next to the Teen Titans heads. So
you got Teen Titans head in your bedroom?
I do. I built the marionettes for Teen Titans Go for the episode Puppets What, and when we did it, we only ran a couple pulls out of the molds, and the first pull is always like a cleanup one. It pulls all the crud out of the mold, and I kept them, and I put them on little stands, and I have the full set of characters. They're unpainted and everything, but it's kind of cool. They're recognizable. So
well, you know what, I'm glad we were able to make this happen. I hope that your dog will be all right.
Thank you.
I know we had a big delay here, but I'm glad we were able to make this happen. And as a pet owner myself, I get it, so certainly understand. You have an Australian Shepherd, and my parents had one too. Their dog was named Mookie. Mookie was very friendly, and he passed away. I think it was 2020. But they loved that dog, and friendly dog. So yeah.
They're very friendly. They're too friendly. They'll lay right in your lap if you sit down and let them. So
yeah. But I'm very happy we made this work. You are my 500th interview since I started doing this.
That is amazing. That is just, wow.
Went from Tommy Wiseau to you.
No, wait, when did you start? What year did you start?
I started doing the podcast in 2015.
Okay.
Like, I started film criticism in 1996. I started at the station in 2005, and that was just me doing film reviews and playing music. This fell into me in 2015, and it kind of changed the course of what I wanted to do. And it led to my first convention. I've got my name on a few movies,
Wow.
Yep. Well, I'm actually a co-producer on a movie that's being released tomorrow.
Oh, okay. What's the movie?
13 Fanboy.
Nice. Okay,
13.
yeah. You've had a lot of the people. You've been promoting a lot of the people on the movie recently. So
13 Fanboy is a Friday the 13th type film about a crazed killer going after alumni from the franchise. And I got involved with that. I wasn't on set. I just donated to the Indiegogo, and I was like, my picture's going to be in it. But I was like, this is something I can contribute to and call my own, and
Right, right.
it's kind of nice,
Yep.
and so I did that, and so that's premiering tomorrow. So, well, I reached out on Facebook and I asked if any of the behind the scenes people that don't necessarily get to be interviewed or have a voice, if they wanted to come on and do interviews. And I must have had about 8 or 10 people respond to that,
Wow.
and yeah, like I like interviewing the stars, don't get me wrong, but it's also kind of nice because, like I said, I work in janitorial. I'm a cleaner. I know what it's like to be overlooked, and I don't want to use my show to make other people feel lower.
Right.
I want people to be built up, and I'm going to tell you, those behind the scenes people from 13 Fanboy I had on, boy, did I get some great stories. I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
Stuff you'd never hear otherwise, right?
I just had a guy on here that backed 13 Fanboy, and he backed other films. He backed a film called Velocipastor.
Oh,
And
I heard about that.
well, this was really strange because he said one of the merchandise for the film is a butt plug. I'm like, you gotta be shitting me. I would have never have got that had I not reached out and dug deeper. I would have never have got that. So I always tell podcasters, don't ignore somebody because you don't know who they are.
Right.
Look at it as an opportunity. I had a guy contact me, asked me if I interview Aussie filmmakers, people from Australia.
Yeah.
I didn't know who this guy was, but I looked on the IMDb, didn't know any of his films, but had a lot of those kind of trauma-like films to his credit. So I reached out, I said yes. And he was at nighttime his time. It was an early morning after work for me. But he said, we probably won't get any more than an hour. 2.5 hours later, we're done.
Wow.
Yeah, and it didn't matter whether I knew his stuff. I asked questions. I let
Right.
him promote, and I always tell podcasters, look for opportunities, look for stories, like a lot of people for Willy's Wonderland, they'll look at Nicolas Cage or they'll look at Kaylee Cowan or people like that. But I'm like, I remember when I found out that Jessica was Siren Sarah, I was like, I want to interview Jessica, and I got you on here as Ossie, and I kind of want to interview some of the other puppet people that
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, like the guy that was Willy, like you guys might not have your name up there where Nicolas Cage's is, but it's like it's fun hearing your stories,
Yeah.
Like I would never have known you have a cutout of the wall of Ossie, I mean, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool,
All right. Well, I'm gonna hold on. I'll share one more thing with you.
Okay.
Hold on.
If it's a Willy's Wonderland butt plug, I'm not going to be.
Let's see. All right. Okay. I wasn't gonna share this, but I'll share this one too.
Oh, wow, it's Willy!
Since I was cutting the wall up anyway, I was like, you know what? This is gonna go in the dumpster. So I grabbed Willy too. So
you didn't grab them all?
No, we were locking up. It was the end of the day.
Oh, come on! You should have grabbed Siren Sarah. Come on.
Yeah. No, this was near and dear to me because I kind of rebuilt Willy, and I did all the aging and distressing on all the characters to make them look all worn out and beat up. So I don't know if you know that I was double duty on this. I was, in addition to Ossie, they brought me on as a local, and I did all the exposed metal work, all the kind of disintegration of the characters. So
there you go.
And it was a blast. I mean, I had a lot of fun. I got to to make them look cruddy and old. So,
Oh, there you go. I'm
but
surprised
yeah,
they
so
haven't. I'm surprised they haven't done a video game where Nicolas Cage, as janitorial characters, got to go to the next level and the next level,
oh yeah,
beating up these things, and get to Willy in the last level,
yep. My buddy Spencer Merrill did the built a pinball machine, and I just worked with him day before yesterday, and we were talking about Willys, and apparently there is a huge. I didn't realize that the pinball world is huge. There's a big collecting group,
You want
and
me to tell you something? I didn't know how big. Chris Alexander, who used to work with Fangoria magazine, he now is the guy who heads Horrorama, which is one of the cons I attend. He has a few pinball machines, but I also saw a video. Speaking of Sean Clark, he shot these. They had a pinball for the original Halloween. They had a pinball machine, and I got to see footage of Nick Castle, who was Michael Myers, playing this pinball machine, and
that's awesome.
Sandy Johnson, who is Judith Myers, she was really getting into it, and you'd hear all the sounds from the movie and whatnot. That was pretty cool. Yeah, pinball machines might be making a comeback.
They're huge, and apparently Spencer was telling me some people online have created a digital Willy's Wonderland pinball machine, so you can download it and you can play the Willy's Wonderland pinball machine in digital form. So I thought that was really cool.
Well, you have to play it with sodas,
right?
During your break,
wearing your Willy shirt.
Yeah, wearing the Willy shirt and during your break. Yep, during the break. And if you're being attacked by animals, just give the knife to your coworker and have your break.
Let them deal with it till the timer goes off on the watch, and then you go to it.
Till your timer goes off on the watch. Yep. I love this movie, and I do hope they do a sequel, and hope Nicolas Cage even comes back. If not, then go with a different character and see what other actors you can get to get in on this, But he was definitely a good choice for this, I'll tell you. This worked so well. And yeah, no, I got this on Blu-ray, and very enjoyable movie. And you're my second interview from this movie, so I'm glad I was able to have you on here for number 500. So. And glad we made this work, because I got 2 interviews lined up tomorrow, so I would not have been able to book you.
Oh my good. Yeah, thank you for being flexible. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I've got a heavy night work for me tonight, but you know what? This will allow me to get through. The fact we did this puts me in a very pleasant mood. So
good.
All's good. All is good. I'm glad
Excellent.
we were able to do this. So absolutely. Well, before I let you go, would you mind doing a plug for my show?
Sure, absolutely.
Just state your name and say you were Ossie from Willy's Wonderland, and say you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
Okay. Sorry, I'm really bad at remembering stuff, so I'm gonna write this down real quick. Okay. All right, you ready?
Go for it.
Hi everyone, this is BJ Geyer, and I was Ossie the Ostrich on Willy's Wonderland, and I am on Greg Gilbert's Python's Paradise podcast, and you got to tune in. This is amazing. It's been a great experience for me, and if you haven't seen it, please watch Willy's Wonderland. It's a great movie.
Yes, I have it right here. Do you have the Blu-ray?
I do have the Blu-ray, and I love the bonus features.
Yeah, I don't remember. They don't have a commentary on this.
Oh, I don't know. No, there's just a lot of behind the scenes of art department and various characters and stuff on there. I was actually pleasantly surprised they actually had me in some of them.
There you go. There you go. Oh, this is a terrific movie. I enjoy this movie. When I get, if I remember, when I get the chance and I'm done work, I'll have to send you the Horror Hollows ground that Sean Clark did.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a big one when it comes to booking people for cons. So the fact that he did one on Willy's Wonderland is actually a very good thing for for this film. So
That's awesome. And,
yeah, absolutely. Well, thank
I'm
you.
all,
Huh?
I said I'm all up for going to cons and visiting and making appearances. That would be amazing. So
Well, I'm about to do one in Toronto a week from today.
nice.
So I am looking forward to going, and I'm fully vaxxed. I only got vaxxed so I could travel because I mostly work alone. So, but I told them, I said I did it for Toronto, going
That's
down there. Yeah, but yeah, I appreciate this movie. I appreciate what you're
thank you,
doing.
Greg.
Keep doing what you're doing. Keep creating, and I'll
Thank you.
keep an eye on what you're doing. But perhaps next year I'll have you back and we'll do a second run.
That'd be awesome. And who knows, maybe we'll have a sequel to talk about. So
Well, you guys gotta work on it. Gotta work on it. Bend some arms, twist some legs. I told Jessica the same thing. So
I'm gonna shoot her a message, I think, after we get off. So and see if we can reiterate that. That would be great to get maybe get a push to do a sequel or a spin-off, So
I think they should. This does have a cult following. I mean, there are people definitely talking about it. So the fact that I'm on here doing this with it, I mean, should tell you something. So
well, and we also want to know what the heck, the janitor's doing traveling cross country now in a Mustang with a 19-year-old girl. So why not? Let's follow up on that.
yeah. Well, the 19-year-old old girl definitely has nowhere else to go. So
Nope.
hey,
So,
and she's
a badass by the end of this movie. So
she is a badass. Her friends weren't very badass, mind
no,
you, but
no, they weren't.
but she certainly was. So yeah, I hope they bring her back too. So
Yeah, that would be phenomenal.
there you
So
go.
continued adventures.
There you go. Well, you have yourself a wonderful night. You take care
Thank
of
you,
that
Greg.
that dog of yours,
Thanks, Greg.
and put more weird stuff in the room to freak your wife out.
quick story about that before we wrap it up.
Sure.
So years ago, I built Chucky's for Universal Studios for Halloween Horror Nights. They used to have a thing called Chucky's Insult Shack, where Chucky would pop out and he would literally insult the audience, and it was great. And I built silicone Chucky puppets of the last Chucky, well, the last back then, the cut up stapled together Chucky. And I had two full-size Chucky puppets in the house. My kids were younger, and I tell you, this is the really bad dad thing of me, but I really wanted to put one next to one of their beds in the morning when they woke up. I never did. No, I didn't do it, but my kids loved that Chucky. And but it was like, man, that opportunity to really just scare the crap out of somebody.
Did you ever get up in the morning and slip out of bed while your wife's asleep and like slip a Chucky doll under her arm,
That's creepy. Or just a puppet, even just a creepy puppet, So
Well, if you had an Aussie ostrich, think.
Yeah.
You could have the rest of the ostrich sprawled across the rest of the bed.
Oh, it's reminiscent of a horse in a bed, a horse head, right? So
yeah, the Godfather. Yeah,
right,
absolutely. Sir. Well, thank you so much for coming on
Greg.
here tonight, and I wish you well, and yeah, I hope that we can do this again. I'll see what you're up to. Next year, I'll put you on the roster, and we'll do a continuation.
I love it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And thank you for having me on this time. I really appreciate it. So
take care. God bless you. I'm glad we were able to do this. This has been great. Number 500. 500 of these I've done. Yep. Okay.
Wow. All right. Well, wishing another 500 more for you and hit that 1,000 mark.
Hit that 1,000 mark. Absolutely. And in the meantime, we got to get a sequel to Willy's Wonderland.
There we go.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Take care, man.
Thanks, Greg. Take care. Have a good one.
God bless you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.